All right, folks, it's Monday, December the 9th, 2024. Only about 3 more weeks left in the year of 2024, and then we'll be heading to 2025 and all along those lines. But of course, there's a number of things taking place in the world as always. So let's check out some of these things that are taking place and all along those lines. So definitely it should be some interesting conversations as Russia gave asylum to deposed Syrian President al-Assad, the Kremlin has confirmed. So Assad flees to Moscow as Syria rebels capture Damascus. So definitely that is something going on. And Syrian rebel takeover will have a remarkable ripple effect equivalent to the Berlin Wall, according to one GOP representative, and that is his prediction and all along those lines. So we'll see if this all plays out or how it plays out. And Israel strikes at strategic weapons system in Syria. UK calls for all sides to protect civilians as the Middle East crisis continues as well. And definitely looks like there's a hunt for a hitting cell in a Sydney prison, and they're saying that that's Syria's human slaughterhouse. So definitely, we'll see how this all goes on. And Syrian rebels freed prisoners from Assad's notorious dungeons who celebrated in Damascus streets. So that's something else that is going on in the world as well. So a lot of folks are paying attention to a number of these issues that are going on in the world and everything along those lines. So definitely a lot of people will be paying attention again to the Middle East as well as to Europe and what's going on in Ukraine. Israel says it's struck a suspected Syria chemical weapon site. So definitely, like I said, the war there in the Middle East is continuing to rage on. South Korea president has been hit with a travel ban after martial law mayhem. So South Korea's Justice Ministry imposes a travel ban on President Yoon over the martial law that he imposed and everything like that. So he was banned from foreign travel as the leadership crisis in that country deepens. So South Korea's democracy held after a 6-hour power play. What does that say for democracies elsewhere is what the Associated Press is asking. Haiti gang massacres at least 110 people in Site Soleil, a rights group says, and Haiti gang leaders are blames witchcraft for his son's death and kills more than 100 people. So definitely scores killed as Haiti gang leader reportedly ordered the massacre of elderly and all along those lines. So definitely that's something else going on in the news. The UK could remove Syrian rebel groups from the terror list. So Islamic group that toppled Hazard in Syria may be taken off of the UK terror list. So we'll see if that plays out or doesn't play out as well. And Salma Hayek and her billionaire husband attended the Notre Dame reopening after donating $113 million for the restoration. And Donald Trump shared some of the news of what Prince William told him about King Charles and Kate Middleton. So definitely Notre Dame held its first public mass in years. And one of the quotes was that fire has not conquered stone. And even CNN said capturing the grandeur and beauty of Notre Dame or Notre Dame during its reconstruction. So definitely this is something else that is going on in the world. This is a little bit of a more positive news, even though the fire wasn't all that positive. And definitely, like I said, a lot of stuff is going on about what's happening with Syria. And a lot of people are paying attention to Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard apparently is going on the offense. Definitely warriors whose votes can't be bought. Hundreds of vets pour out in support of Tulsi Gabbard for the position that she's been nominated for as well. So definitely looks like Gabbard will be heading to the Hill with Syria in the spotlight. So we'll see how this all plays out and what folks have to say about her chances of getting that particular job and all along those lines. So definitely we'll see what this happens. And Biden offered a blueprint for U.S. support in Syria during his last weeks in office and announces airstrikes against ISIS targets. So we're still saying that he is still trying to do some things that are in that presidential domain and all along those lines. So we'll see what folks have to say about a number of these stories as we get to them and all along those lines. But definitely a lot taking place in the world, including here in the U.S. The suspect in the killing of the United Healthcare CEO has eluded police for nearly a week. And some folks are asking how long can he avoid being caught? So the murdered CEO to be mourned at a funeral as the national manhunt for the killer intensifies. And New York mayor hints police may be close to naming the suspect in the Brian Thompson murder, all along those lines. But we'll see what goes on in that case and what folks have to say about that as well. And a 12-year-old boy is killed and a girl was injured after falling through ice at a New York park. So it looks like they fell at a Washington Park ice incident. So definitely, we have to be careful even in those ice parks. And this was in Albany. No, it looks like it was an Albany city school student that was the one that was the victim and all along those lines. But definitely I know a lot of these ice parks are opening up and folks have to be diligent in making sure that they are safe and all along those lines. Laura Trump has announced that she is stepping down as RNC co-chair amidst talk she may be up for a Florida Senate seat. So Laura Trump says she's stepping down as the Republican National Committee co-chair. And of course, there's speculation that she may be running for an office in Florida in the Senate and all along those lines. And Trump has laid out a sweeping early acts on deportation and January 6 pardons, says Cheney and others should go to jail. And Trump says he'll pardon the January 6 rioters and all along those lines. So that's one of the news stories that was breaking, just like Jay-Z, one of our popular musicians, is denying accusations that that are being thrown out that are trying to link him to Sean Diddy Combs and all of the crimes that he is alleged to have committed as well. So lots going on in the world, and we'll see how this all goes on. And coming back to Trump, Trump is suggesting deporting families with mixed immigration status. So looks like Trump details that sweeping changes he'll carry out on day one and beyond. And that was in an exclusive interview that was on Meet the Press. So we'll see if others watched it. I did not get a chance to watch it and everything, but I might go back and watch it later and see what he had to say and all along those lines. A Mexico flight crew detains a passenger who tried to divert the plane to U.S. So passengers on a Volaris flight to Tijuana threatens to jump and demands that the plane diverts itself to San Diego. So it looks like he tried to hijack a Mexican flight, but that did not work. And apparently he's been captured and in captivity, so he did not get to the U.S. and all along those lines. So we'll see how this goes on. And nearly 24 Morris County mayors expressed urgent concerns of reported drones. So New Jersey residents feel left in the dark as drone sightings increase. Nobody has said anything. So more mysterious drones are spotted over New Jersey's Bergen County. They are just pacing back and forth. So we'll see what's going on in that space. Maybe there's something in that area that they are trying to get and all along those lines. So we'll see what happens in that space and what folks have to say about that. And it looks like Bill Clinton was in a recent interview talking about the election, the DEI, and one of his regrets and everything like that. So definitely that's in the news, as well as Biden has hit a low point with House Democrats after the Hunter pardon, and people are angry, is what some people are saying. And a SoCal fire, Southern California fire, warning at acute level, particularly dangerous situation as red flag warning across Southern California as Santa Ana winds bring dangerous fire conditions. So we'll see if folks have got to say stuff about that as well. So definitely a lot's going on in the world and all in that space. I'll bring in my folks, see what they've got to say about what's going on. And there are still folks that are trying to figure out, because a U.S. judge will have to decide about the Onion's buyout of InfoWars. So a U.S. judge is weighing the fate of the Onion's buyout of InfoWars. So that's before a judge, as Alex Jones apparently is trying to stop the sale. So we'll see what goes on in that space. And last but not least, the EPA is banning 2 cancer-causing chemicals used in everyday products. So apparently they're banning some products, some things that we use on a regular day basis because they are saying that they are cancer-causing and all along those lines. So I've got Nick with me. We'll see what Nick's got going on in his world. Don't see any of the other fellows with us. But Nick, how are things going in your world? What's happening in Spain? And are they talking about any of these things over there in Spain, including the insurance guy that was killed, and they're still trying to find him? I know that some people are saying that it was a somebody that was upset by their way that insurance was handled. I've even heard some people that are upset at Obamacare, and they're wondering why he was targeted. And I've even heard some people, including some of the law enforcement, that say that it was a professional hitman, and others that are thinking, no, we're just an angry person and everything. But I don't know whether they're even talking about that over there in Spain.
It gets no press at all here. They don't have the same system as they do over in the States when it comes to medical care. Mm-hmm. So basically everybody's covered. So, so that they don't have this winner take all mentality where the CEOs, it's not just this guy, United Healthcare, every major CEO pulls down more than $10 million a year. And so what happens is, once again, winner takes all. Hey, Rick, winner takes all. The head of these healthcare departments pull in $10 million, and they get paid for denying claims. So if it's true what Rick says, I know don't doubt him, that 40% of their claims are denied.
32%, yeah.
Yeah, the old joke in law practice, when you defend an insurance company, deny, delay, don't pay. Those are your marching orders. Okay.
And two of those words were written on the shell casings.
I know, I saw that. And we're going, that's old standard legal practice when you're defending a case. Deny the case, delay the case, and then don't pay. So but if you look at the healthcare structure, why are these people getting $10 million a year to deny claims?
I mean, people get paid all kinds of crazy wages. I was in a text message with a couple of people and everything, but I do have a question for everybody. Maybe we'll get to it on the media show as well, but I'll throw it to Jacoby. Are we becoming desensitized to violence in general? Because I didn't see a big uproar over the 2 kindergarten kids that were killed. Saturday Night Live got in trouble for some of the jokes that they told, including a joke that seems relatively mild and relatively truthful, which is that in New York City, if the time that this guy was being shot and killed is also the time that the Rockefeller Center does its Christmas tree lighting, and a lot of the New York police are at that particular location at that particular time. So it might not have been as much security in that area of Times Square as usual, because a lot of them were at Rockefeller Square trying to prepare for the Christmas tree lighting. So are we becoming desensitized to violence?
Yeah. I'd say so. My wife and I are watching Black Doves, which is a series on Netflix with Keira Knightley, who's, just a wholesome kind of, and she plays a spy, and it's got a huge body count of just casual slaughter. And we love that. It's a Christmas movie, the same way Lethal Weapon was a Christmas movie. And I don't know, so far 60 people have been killed at least in the thing.
How many people died in It's a Wonderful Life? Do you know?
Just the lead character, right?
Yeah, he did. But I would say that
I'll answer that question. Nobody. They used to make movies where nobody got killed, and they made good movies. Today, Hollywood, where you live,
just correction it,
for pulling out.
If
you give people trash, violence like they do in video games, Hollywood.
Let me correct you real quick, Nick.
So the thing is, the only people who defend it are video game addicts. Oh, speaking of which, we have our resident video game addict.
Okay, let me correct you real quick, Nick. You pointed out It's a Wonderful Life. Somebody tell me when It's a Wonderful Life came on. That was back in the 40s, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Do you know what genre was also big in the 40s? Westerns. How many people died in Westerns? So don't tell me that, oh, now they just put on TV people dying. No, people were killed in Westerns. People were killed in tons of shows at that time as well. Heck, at that time, even before that, we had people dying all around us. We're selectively desensitized to it because we justify our outrage at particular times. For example, people are desensitized to school shootings to protect their ability to get guns. So they are, well, it's a part of life. It's this. So yes, we are desensitized, but we are selectively desensitized. We should not be desensitized, but we are selectively desensitized.
Yeah, that's like saying, well, people smoked, and a lot of people smoked, they didn't die, hence it was no problem. And there were smoking commercials, and not everybody smoked because of, come on, Chitobi, you know it's wrong.
Right. I just want to push back against, not everything with a high body count is trash.
Yeah, I mean, down in your soul, if you have one, you know.
No, again, Nick, I don't understand your argument on that.
Completely promote violence on movies, television, video games. Everywhere somebody turns,
Nick,
there's violence. It is wrong with a capital W. So just reach into your soul. Reach into your soul.
Just again,
and just admit.
Country westerns were the biggest genre during that time. People died.
Chitobi, if you say I'm wrong, violence all over the place isn't good. Your soul.
Hey, Nick. Hold on a second. Nick, really quickly. Real quick. Hold on a second. I just wanted to correct because I thought I was not wrong. There was a death in It's a Wonderful Life because actually, after being shown in George's life, because that's the main character, Clarence actually did jump off the bridge. So there was at least one suicide in It's a Wonderful Life. I thought I remembered that.
So I looked up. It's a Wonderful Life came out in 1946, right after 6 years of wholesale slaughter of 50 million people dying. We were pretty desensitized to death in World War II, enough for 5 million, 4 million guys to march off to war. There's no way we would get that kind of, people would run to Canada. People would not walk off to slaughter the way they did in World War II.
Okay. And then here's the interesting piece of apologists, lefties, look at this one. Okay, the reason why did they ban cigarette commercials is because it influences people to smoke. Why do we ban violence or should ban it? It influences people to become violent.
No.
So the fact is, you're wrong. You need to ban this stuff because it influences people. Why do people?
Counselor, let me point.
It's because it influences people, and so once you admit you're wrong, it will release your soul.
Let me help you.
Yeah, the Hallmark Channel is good. All video games are bad.
Let me point something out to you, counselor. Let me point something out to you. On your tag there, it says Europe. You know what is also in Europe? Video games, movies, everything you're stating that is causing people to be violent is in the same place that you're in now. But the violence level is higher where we are. It is not due to the video games, because you have the same. So if it were, wouldn't it be equally violent in your same place?
Well, you might need two things. You might need video games and readily. You might need two things. You might need video games and a shit ton of guns.
Okay. Let me respond to him because he lives in a sea of ignorance and I live in Barcelona. Okay. Here's the response, counsel. If you go outside in Barcelona, people aren't sitting there looking at video games. You know what they're doing? They're sitting out, drinking coffee, drinking tea, talking to each other, and socializing. That is the nature of Spain and Europe. Okay. In the United States, they don't do that. They huddle in their little offices or little huts like you are, and they watch violent video games all day. So because of that, you get what you deserve, which is a huge violent culture. Here we have a peaceful culture. And that's
I noticed a similar thing. My wife and I were driving across the valley a couple nights ago, and we passed all these places that used to be bars where people would discos and nightclubs and country western bars where people would go to try to get laid. And I'm like, they're all gone. There's people don't go to bars to get laid anymore. It's all online. It's Tinder and Grindr and Plenty of Fish. And I don't know. Are you saying that in Spain people still hang out in like little cafes hoping to meet somebody?
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
They do not hang out on their
Hey, hold on.
They're out there right now.
Hey, everybody, hold on a second. I got to give you some statistics, Nick. One, I was wrong the second time because the suicide didn't happen. He actually got saved, but that's neither here nor there and everything. But this is what I found in the AI overview. AI is a wonderful thing. Time spent playing. On average, Spanish gamers spend about 7.7 hours per week playing video games. Smartphones are the most popular gaming device in Spain, with around 32% of gamers playing on their phones. The gender balance of gamers in Spain is almost even, with 52% of gamers being men and 48% being women. Age distribution, 80% of people aged 6 to 10 play video games in Spain, while 24% of those in the 45 to 64 age range do. And there's even some games that are popular, including action, adventure, and strategy. So apparently the user penetration rate in Spain is projected to increase from 17.3% in 2024 to 19.4% in 2027. So in 2022, Spain contributed 2.3 billion to the gaming industry revenue. So there's a bunch of gamers in Spain.
But let me point out as well.
So the thing is, we're going to have to change this culture over here, because otherwise we're doomed, I say, to become the United States of America. The last thing you want if you live in Spain is to be doomed and become part of the United States of America. The culture of violence and death, as opposed to the culture of life and living. So, it's just
let me point out something also, Nick. You said when you go outside of your house, there are people out in the net just socializing and everywhere. True. You're kind of like in the downtown area, right?
There's almost, in Barcelona, there's nothing but downtown area.
Okay, so if I go outside in downtown Durham, I'm sure people are outside, even in the rain, socializing and talking. So again, my point being, you're just actually giving an anecdote to say, hey, this is the way it really is, when it's not truly that, based on the statistics, based on the fact that everywhere right now is gaming. It is the number one thing across the globe. And it's outgrosses any other form of entertainment.
Everybody's smoking cigarettes, hence it's good. Come on, Chito. Enlighten your soul, please, counselor.
Again, you're arguing that gaming is causing violence, but don't have a link. You're arguing the RFK style vaccines.
You're great for the cigarette.
There's no link.
Toby, you'd be great for the cigarette industry. You're trying to say commercials on cigarettes can't be linked to people who are smoking.
No, and here's another thing. Even if you use here's something to push back on. You keep trying to push out the cigarette argument. Well, you do realize that other countries do have cigarettes as well, but the way they promote their cigarettes is different from the way they promote them here in the States. And the culture around cigarettes in the States is different from everywhere else you're talking. So you're looking at a cultural significance that plays a role into the desensitization around these things that we're talking about. Hence the reason, again, right now, guns are a religion in the US. So anything and everything that, the dude gunned down, it didn't shock anybody that he was gunned down, or the fact that this dude had a silencer. That wasn't the scary piece. No, wasn't at all. He's becoming a cult hero. Kids in schools that got gunned down, people ignored the fact that had this dude not been able to get a gun to go into the school and shoot up the school. No, they're arguing, hey, let's give kids bulletproof backpacks and have them duck down. That's a cultural problem. That's not, hey, guns are causing these people to. That's not that. That's a cultural issue.
Of course it is. And the culture comes from what you're culturing and promoting, which is violence on video games. So, of course it is.
Right, so I want to move on to a different thing. Over the weekend, Trump talked about some of his plan. He was interviewed by Meet the Press,
Yes.
and he talked about stuff he's going to do. And like one of the things, he wants to get rid of birthright citizenship, which is guaranteed under the 14th Amendment. If your parents make it into the U.S. and your mom spits out a baby within our borders, that baby is American. And I think whatever else about immigration, I think that is part of what makes America great, is birthright citizenship. And I can't believe that it's that big a freaking problem. Now, we could do what you would like to do, Nick, which is if you spit out a baby, that baby owes the U.S. 10 or 15 grand for being born here. But still, that baby is freaking American.
Absolutely. I would agree with you as long as America gets paid. If you want America great again, you got to make America financially sound again. I did some research for David Walker's show coming up, and it is mind-blowing how bad, people don't even know how bad of the financial situation we're in right now. So when Musk goes, oh, we'll just reduce the budget by $2 trillion, I can show you, he ain't gonna be able to do it. It ain't happening without cutting Social Security, Medicare, or raising taxes. It ain't happening, as they'd say in stars. The math doesn't add up. And that's part of the reason we need to collect revenue. He wants to deport people. That costs money. My program is you charge them. That brings money in the door. The government needs money in the door. So, hey, 10 grand, I probably have at least 10,000 getting my residency card here in Spain. I mean, it costs what it costs. Some people spend $500,000 to get a golden visa. It depends on what you want. But to sit and deport them, that just costs the American taxpayer more money, which they don't have. Collecting 10 grand now, if they don't pay the 10 grand, you then deport them. You put them on a little plane, they go back to wherever country they're from, and good luck to them. Once they get the 10 grand, we'll talk again.
So Rick, birthright and citizenship is not a problem. It isn't at all.
No, it isn't. But see, Trump's argument is this: an illegal runs across the border and plops a kid. Now the kid is an American citizen.
Again, that idea has been part of this whole great replacement. Larry Gohmert used to say that on the floor of the House multiple times. The whole anchor babies is his argument. And it's the same thing that Trump is saying. They're anchor babies, or well, he's not using the anchor baby term, but that's what that is. It is just repackaged and repurposed now to scare people. It is not a problem. You can look it up. It said, I found an article, the Pew Research study from 2018, about 250,000 babies were born to unauthorized immigrant parents in the United States in 2016. 250,000.
That's less than one American in 1,000. That's one American in about 1,200. Even if you look at Dreamers, there's only about 750,000 of them. That's less than 1/4 of all Americans.
Why are you lowering this? Why are you both? And then the left, you guys are so weird. No, you're trying to say 250,000 isn't very much. Let me tell you something. That's a lot of people, guys.
Not really.
You can fill Michigan Stadium. You can fill the Tennessee Stadium and still have another 50,000 to put in another stadium.
Sure, but America's a big ass country with 1/3 of a billion.
From that standpoint, now you told me the facts, I would have to agree with Trump. You got to stop.
Again, I understand. I hear what you're saying, but then let's look at it in the bigger picture instead of trying to to make this hyperbolic statement about these individuals. 250,000 in 2016 is down from 2007, which was 390,000. So the trend seems to be going down. And then if you talk about the issue where immigration is, the problem that we're talking about in immigration deals with not only people coming across the border, which jumped up to more than that 250,000, but then on top of that, if you talk about the individuals that have overstayed their visas, which is more than that 250,000. So if you have let's say you're in a boat and that boat is, it has a hole in it. There's a big old hole in it. But then there's also water in the boat. Which one is the problem? The water in the boat or the hole that's causing you to sink? My guess would be the hole that's causing you to sink.
I have a way for Trump to deport. I have a way for Trump to deport
when they come to the United States. So immediately you have a criminal that walks in the door because they don't respect our laws. So that's the reason
I have a way for Trump to deport at least a million people, and it won't cost the U.S. anything except for a tanked stock market. In 2008, when the market crashed because of the mortgage crisis, our economy got so crappy that 10% of the illegals in the U.S. went home. So if Trump makes some bad economic moves, if tariffs cause our economy to tank, we will a million or more illegals will just go home.
Well, speaking of folks going home, just really quickly and changing the topic once again, everything.
Kim,
Whatever folks think about.
I watched the morning show with Kumo. I don't know if you guys are keeping up with him, but he's also doing interviews with I guess Trump's picks, like Trump's border Cesar and stuff like that. And it's quite interesting how he reviewed the border situation in the past, 8 to 10 years. Not really giving blame or credit to anyone. He just spews the data and feels like, Trump will get things back on track with the new Cesar. The new Cesar really isn't new. I mean, he did this previously, which I think he didn't do a good job. I think that, like Kumo stated, when Trump was president, it was the people didn't cross over because of COVID. But one of the things I want to bring out and up is, you talk about the murders or the deaths caused by the immigrants and what they're costing us. Let's consider all the deaths, wrongful deaths, caused because insurance companies delay and deny, killing millions and millions of people who pay for insurance that should not delay and deny their claims. And I just think that that's worse, very much worse on the health of our society, and very bigger murder problem than what's going on with immigrants. And I think that that's just a smokescreen used to drive everybody over here. But I mean, that's minimal compared to the murders that we commit in our own country, but that needs to be stopped. All the Congress and senators help promote all of the murders of the denials and delays and don't pay. And they're the reasons why the health costs are so high, because if you walk in, you see administration in our country, there's so much administration to process insurance claims than there are doctors. There are more of administration than there are doctors. And I was just recently in the ER here, and there were more administration than there were doctors and nurses. And that shouldn't be. Now, I was in the emergency room in Albania and other countries, and there were more doctors than insurance processors and administration, because they don't need that. They just need people who treat people. So
I just looked it up.
There are more murders that way, and that needs to be addressed. And I think somebody brought that to our attention. He is not an assassin. I think that word needs to be dropped. I think that they intentionally called him an assassin so that he could get the worst penalty ever for killing the worst man ever on earth. So,
all right, so I looked it up. An estimated 45,000 Americans between age 17 and 64 die each year from having no insurance.
Not even no insurance. How many die from denials? Or
I don't know. That's a harder number to dig up. But
right. And if you get one of the guys that used to be on our show, he used to work for the insurance companies at a high level years ago. He said insurance companies had two sets of computers. One that they used and one that they showed government officials when they were being audited. And one would be the one where they denied people treatments, overcharged them, and things like that. And the other one would be for auditors for accountability.
But, Kim, this comes down to an issue that I've brought up several times. I think even Jacoby's brought up several times, which is that there are several powerful lobbies in the country. The insurance companies are one of those. As even Nick knows and everything, and the gun lobby, and then of course Big Farm is a big part of the problem as well. So all of this talk about what you're going to do is probably irrelevant, because I don't know how much the big lobbies are going to allow to be done and everything. Meaning
And I want to correct everyone. I don't think this Robin Hood is an assassin. I think he did this as a crime of passion, and that needs to be addressed. I think someone he loved very much, paid a lot of money for insurance, couldn't get the help they needed, and died, and he snapped. And you know what? That's what happens. You know what's going to happen because of this? So right now, today, all of your premiums, deductibles, and denials are going to go up and increase because all of the CEOs of the insurance companies aren't fixing the problem. They're hiring security to protect their butts and their sins. So I'm just telling you right now, all of your premiums, everything are going to go sky high. And so is the denials for your medical care because they need security for their sins.
That guy was pretty methodical for a crime of passion. He was waiting in New York for 10 days for that.
That's a crime of passion. That's a mental shutdown. That's a mental shutdown. That is not an assassin. An assassin gets paid. An assassin should be what they called what happened to Stephen Colbert and Mike Lynch and Bloom, who, won that lawsuit. But, oh no, those were unusual circumstances and situations that we're not even sure that they're murders.
Well, like I said,
but those were assassins because Hewlett Packard lost a case and they got pissed and they hired somebody to kill those people.
Well, I mean, there've been assassins before. There've been assassinations before. I mean, a lot of people think that.
But this was not an assassination.
The Commerce Secretary under Brown under Clinton was an assassination because it was some very suspect things that were done in that particular case and everything. But I mean, there have been cases of people that have disappeared. We even had that case here in North Carolina where I think his name was Rudolph and they couldn't find him for years. So I'm expecting that this will be another case where the person disappears into the woodworks until they find him later and everything like that.
A lot of people disappear and they find them in the bottom of the bog in Florida with honey on their heads. So
that is a true case.
That's true. I know. It's a true story.
They have definitely found them in that way and everything. And like I said before, it could be somebody that is. I'm still not dismissing the assassin theory because I still think that you have to sometimes pay people in order to get the justice that you want and everything.
I don't think anyone paid this man to do it. I think this man is his own actor. I think he is a Robin Hood. I think that he had something he loved very much. And I say this because I had to fight tooth and nail with the insurance company to pay for my husband's care. It took me, and they denied and lied. They lied and lied and lied and lied. And I learned that the insurance commissioner has no authority to do anything. I don't even know why we have them. In fact, I really pray and hope that that's the first job Trump and his goonies get rid of because it does absolutely nothing for us.
It works a little bit in California having an insurance commissioner. On the other hand, California with climate change, a ton of companies are just saying, see ya, we lost our home insurance company. They don't want to do business in the state anymore because too many houses go up in the zillion fires we have. I want to bring up another topic, which is the Golden Globes nominations are out. And those nominations I guess this is maybe for the media show, but I think we're living in a golden age of TV. Because if you look at the nominations, these are people who did really enjoyable TV.
Yeah.
Compare it to like when I was a little kid when the best show on TV was Mannix, which is just a guy running around in a cool car solving cases.
So, well, I still enjoy watching Lucille Ball, Carol Burnett, Mary Tyler Moore, Dick Van Dyke. I still enjoy those shows.
But those shows were kind of rarities in a sea of TV that was, I don't know, bland and not good. Like I still get pissed at the Brady Bunch. My wife loves the Brady Bunch.
I don't like them either.
No, I think it was crap. They didn't even have real grass in their backyard.
The Partridge Family. I didn't like any of them.
I only watch violent shows. and only play violent video games.
Oh,
And I love being surrounded by violence.
speaking
Like the Japanese
of entertainment, I know this, but the Wicked, I went to see the movie. It is 3 hours almost. It's a 3-hour journey, maybe 4 hour if you have to drive there to get there. Absolutely phenomenal. I've been to the play. Loved the play. Will go again in New York. But I will say it was a class act. There's more in it than, of course, what we get in the play, more to the storyline. And I hate to tell you guys because I don't like ruining surprises, but it's a 2-parter. So there's another one.
So you're talking about a 5-hour movie, basically.
5 to 6. Yep.
Hey, I got a question. I want to come back to the kind of people that are possibly going to be running the government and everything like that. And I'm still a little confused about the Christopher Wray Kash Patel situation, because apparently Christopher Wray is first appointed by Trump and his term doesn't end in 2027. So is he actually going to get fired? And then
he will. Trump doesn't care. Trump will fire him. Wray didn't do what Trump wanted him to do. Kash Patel will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Trump is getting his cabinet of worshipers, and who will do what he tells them to do.
Well, we have some good news apparently, because this is good
and
news
sexual offenders. Huge long list of sexual offenders.
This is good news for you, Rick, as well as Jatovi and others. But apparently, we're going to have a artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency czar. So apparently, we're going to have somebody that can run all of this stuff that y'all oftentimes talk about. So some gentleman by the name of David Sachs is going to be in charge of knowing what the heck is going on. And apparently, he's a former PayPal executive, just like Peter Thiel was and everything. But apparently, he's going to keep us on track with AI and cryptocurrency.
There you go.
No, that could be a good thing, but if that guy here, I don't know. I mean, Trump has 14 billionaires in his cabinet. It's government by billionaire. Some of them, I'm sure, earned their billions through competence. Others, like Kelly Loeffler, earned hers by being a tall, sexy blonde lady who had sex with the head of the New York Stock Exchange.
Well, Sachs may also be a friend of Elon Musk, because apparently he was born in South Africa too. So he's a co-founder of a venture capital firm, Craft Ventures, and an early leader of PayPal. So we may have some more South African connections as well. Maybe there's a South African mafia.
Well, it's like Nick said, there are 12 people in our country, 12 billionaires who hold more money in their assets than the rest of the people in this country accumulated. And there's a problem with our society when that happens. And now they are running our country. They are your leaders. These people.
Right. I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, the thing is, you have the billionaires that run the country. The only thing better is to have royals run it. But we have
because you're going to need Robin Hoods to come and make things right. And it's legal to kill millions of people by denying their claims and taking their money under false pretense. But you're an assassin, not a murderer. You're an assassin, or considered an assassin, if you kill someone because you're mad. So I just think that the system is as crooked as you get right now, and it's going to.
You can reform your system. In Spain, they do not have the crazy insurance system. 25% of every dollar you spend on healthcare goes to healthcare administration.
And
so
doctors.
If you spend 1,000, you just spent 250 on healthcare administration. You spend 10,000, 2,500 went to healthcare administration. So the delivery system in the United States suck. Medicare is actually pretty good, and expanding that system would work if the United States ever decides to dump their stupid insurance system and create a Medicare for all system. Would it be expensive?
AI with no sticky hands touching the money, right? Use AI.
Well, you get rid of 25% overhead and try to reduce it to like 10%.
I agree. Use them to process migrants.
Your administration costs are eating up your ability to deliver good health care.
Well, they can't hire doctors anymore.
It's universal health insurance that works.
So I looked up David Sachs, the AI czar. And a couple things pop out. This is a Time magazine, not that Time is a magazine anymore. I guess it's a website. But anyway, it's only a part-time gig for him. He's going to still be a VC, leading, a huge VC fund. Also, he's a member of the PayPal mafia. So anyway, the guy, obviously, he's not Lady Justice. He's got skin in the game.
So these people that are being placed in charge, these billionaires, are only doing it because they want to make more money. We have to be honest. Elon Musk. So, for example, Elon Musk, the only reason he bought Twitter because he was banned from Twitter for actually an investigation that was going into him. The reason he paid for Trump to be there. He spent over $200 and some odd million for Trump just so he could stay afloat. The reason he did that was he could now get rid of the investigations that are ongoing into him. The reason this PayPal czar, because I guess, Rick, you looked up the same article that I just looked up, how he wanted to calls for an investigation into Operation Choke. Operation Choke Point 2.0. That's another bank collapse or whatever, that he may have skin in it. He's only doing this because he has money on the line and he can make more money. That's what all these.
Well, let's talk about one more thing. The guy is all in on AI. He wants AI used in warfare and national security. So these guys, I guess, never saw Terminator. He's just like, let's plug AI wherever it can go, and it maybe. I don't think it'll turn into Skynet. There's no skepticism. He's a lot of AI people who know the field are what are called doomers, who say that there's a non-zero chance. There's a certain percentage chance that AI wipes out civilization.
Hey, Rick, I'm confused about something. I was confused yesterday. I was going to bring it up. I mean, not yesterday, Friday. I was confused about it, and I said I was going to bring it up. And I actually have mad respect for what this guy does in one of his jobs and everything. But why are we getting rid of the IRS? So why is Trump picking Billy Long to head the IRS? Apparently Trump, the reason I said auctioneer is apparently Billy Long is a major poker player and also a major auctioneer. And I've worked on a couple of events. I think you have, Toby, as well, with auctioneers. And they do have mad skills because you got to be able to negotiate and very fast. As people
holy crap, this guy looks like, he looks like an auctioneer. He looks like he's, or a square dance caller. Promenade left and
you're going to have a colorful cabinet. Just get over it. It's called diversity, equity, and inclusion.
The article about him in the New Republic, Trump's plan to turn
it's called criminals, fraudsters, sexual offenders, and rapists.
The New Republic's going to say, under Trump, the IRS is a grifter's paradise. The deal is, if you pull the IRS's teeth, but if you give the IRS teeth, it bites super rich people.
Well, speaking of super rich people getting bit, I'm gonna go to the pop world, and maybe Toby got some thoughts around this. Sean Puffy Combs has been in hot water, but apparently one of his other buddies is now in hot water and apparently he's married to Beyonce. But Jay-Z apparently is now being named in one of those suits where they're saying that literally they said an unnamed female superstar was watching as they were assaulting,
raping a 13-year-old girl.
13-year-old, right? And
everything. With one of these, believe all women, but also wait and see what evidence comes out. You can say, all right, well, there's a lot. Diddy is obviously guilty as hell.
Diddy bought stock in baby oil. That dude.
But Jay-Z, we'll see. It's perfectly possible that if there's a party and there's hot and cold running vagina, and you walk into the wrong room,
hot and cold running. Okay.
That's a Rick Rosner special.
I think my nephews love this show now. No, I think that there's a lack of responsibility in our society now in taking care of these problems, and people just let other people get away with it, and it's wrong. When I look at some of his pics and some of the things that are in their closet, one man, I mean, he isn't exactly on the pick, but he's somebody that he picked supports, slipped his girlfriend, they're all in politics, slipped his girlfriend a morning after pill. And here they are supposedly against abortion, but he nearly killed her. She almost hemorrhaged to death, not knowing that this is what was given to her.
Yeah, there's more than one Stephen Miller who's a scumbag in Trump world. So there's the Stephen Miller without hair, and then there's Stephen Miller with weird facial hair. Weird facial hair, Stephen Miller. Yeah, he had a stripper mistress, also had a wife. Stripper mistress gets pregnant. He gives, I'm concerned about our growing baby. Here, drink this smoothie. Smoothie had an abortion drug in it. And yeah, she almost dies from the poisoning.
But I mean, these are people who are supposedly pro-life, and they're legally, just in their mind, killing people just because they can. I mean, there's something.
That thing is like alleged and well-founded. I don't think it was ever substantiated in a court of law.
But isn't this part of the reason? And this is just my thoughts, because we're talking about a responsibility, all doing this show and everything. But Trump has said that he wants to skip the traditional FBI background checks, so a lot of this stuff doesn't have to come out if they are able to skip it. I don't know that.
Well, a lot of this stuff it's already founded. Like some of this stuff was printed in articles back in 2021. This wasn't even just because these people got selected by Trump. These articles were written years and years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, so you don't need an FBI background. All you need to do is take a look at.
Let's go take a look at the articles and everything. By the way,
most of these people have already been found guilty or in trial, or it's
now on the flip side, and I'm just gonna give the flip side and everything. We sometimes talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and apparently, I guess this is Trump's appeal to try to have some diversity, inclusion, and everything, because he's going to have, I think, the first gay person in a job, and I'll get to that in a second. But I know he's got a brother that's going to be running the housing department that used to play in the NFL, so that's being Scott Turner. And then he's got this Lori Chavez DeRimmer, who is a House representative from Oregon, who will probably go into the whole Spanish thing. And apparently she's a union backer, even though he's not a union backer and everything. And then, like I said, Scott Bassett, that's the one I was trying to read. And it comes back to our idea about billionaires, because apparently he's a hedge fund billionaire as well, but apparently he's also going to be the first openly gay Treasury Secretary that we've ever had, and he's the founder of the hedge fund Key Square Capital Management. So I guess maybe he's trying to
Mark, stop. Let me help you out here. Ben Carson, who is a world-renowned surgeon, even though he was an idiot on the microphone and just sounded all crazy, guess where Trump put him? Hood. Now, he takes this guy, the only black guy that he decides to pick. Where'd he put him? Same place, Hood. As the comedian said, he is confused. He thinks it is pronounced Hood. So again, he's not being diverse in his selections. He's picking a hedge fund manager who's gonna make money and make millions for Trump. So it's not about any diversity or anything else. He's picking his millionaire friends that are gonna make money. As you notice, there are more sexual abusers than there are black people he's picked in his cabinet.
Yeah, he does pick really black folks, but he does have the WWE, so maybe he's going to give Dana White a job since he's already given Linda McMahon.
But he put her in the head in charge of a department. He put her in charge of a department he said he's closing.
Exactly. Well, apparently he's put a couple of people in, but in departments he said he's closing. He put that other guy in the IRS. He said he's closing the IRS. He's putting Linda McMahon in education. He says he's closing education. So he said he's closing a couple of these departments that I don't know who he's got yet for the FCC, but I think he said he's going to close that as well. But yeah,
so is this Turner guy smart? I've looked at his career, and like he's got a pretty good career, but it's in kind of public speaking. He's got a degree in communications. You know, he was
I mean, you gotta be at least a little bit smart. Joby, correct me if I'm wrong, because we talk about sports on Friday and everything. You gotta be at least a little bit smart, particularly to be a defensive back. And he did spend 9 seasons in the NFL from 1995, so I guess that'd be 95 to 2004. So you
Okay.
so you have
Again, he's picking his friends. Most are not even qualified, but they all have money. So it's either money or some type of fame that Trump likes. And that's what he's picking.
Or something he can hold over their head.
Exactly.
Or something that supports him, which sexual crimes, fraud, stealing from
to one of the women he picked and everything.
What is Alina's back? What is her? Has anyone found anything about her that is in line with what he hires?
Government worker.
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
Alina Habba, his new counselor that he just appointed.
Alina Habba, his former lawyer.
Yeah, that was his former lawyer and everything.
He is now his White House counselor. He just appointed her.
That was his former counselor. Hey, but Nick, I had a question before we wrap up and everything, because you spent some time in Florida, and one of our new shows, Stella Adams, also said that she was smart until she went further to the MAGA side and everything. And on one of our shows, I'll play the commercials she gave us, because she'll start in January on a show around housing and everything, Stella Adams, but she worked with Pam Bondi. But what do you know about Pam Bondi? Because apparently what Trump said is for too long, the partisan Department of Justice has been weaponized against me and others. Not anymore. Pam will work for the DOT to its intended purpose of fighting crime and making America safe again.
Two things about Pam Bondi, and then one thing about Alina Habba. Yeah. Bondi took a $25,000 political contribution from Trump to drop an investigation into Trump University. That's thing one. Thing two is she's an election denier. So she's not great. Alina Habba, I found out a positive thing about her. She goes to college, and then she gets she graduates, and for 2 years after college, she worked in the fashion industry in accessories and marketing at Marc Jacobs. And hold on, this is a positive thing. It wasn't enough for her. She wasn't challenged enough, so she decided to go back to school and get her law degree. That, to me, I don't know. I mean, we like to say that all of Trump's lawyers are shit because he doesn't pay. He always stiffs them. But somebody who gives up one career to go for another, that's, in my mind.
Well, and I don't think she graduated from Harvard or Yale or any
Lehigh. She went to Lehigh, and then she went to Whitney.
I mean, I'm sure Dan and his team of people would have a lot to cut her down, except she's a Republican Trump pick. But you know how they put everyone down for not going to Harvard or Yale.
All right, yeah. But she went to a crap law school that's ranked 159th in the country.
But she was. You saw her during the interviews that she did, taking up. No, so yay, she went from fashion design to law, like any other person.
I know a lot of people who said, you know what, I'm tired of this, and they put themselves through law school. We could all do the what do you call it? The wicked dance, right?
Wicked dance.
But I do love Rick. This is why I love you. This is why I love you, Rick. When you said I found something good. You went to college.
You went to college. That was
she went to college. But you know what? You haven't found anything wicked about her, like she's
I didn't look that hard.
Or she took bribes, or and I'm sure that will come out, or she has sexual offense closet.
All right, so here's a bet we could make. We won't, because we're not really in office.
Did she represent Epstein with Bond?
All right, so we could bet on how many months it is till the first cabinet or member of his staff has had enough and quits.
We've already had that, Matt Gaetz.
Well, he just couldn't get confirmed. But like back when Rex Tillerson, he lasted 14 months, I think, before he said he had enough of the chaos and just washed his hands of the whole thing. Yes. I would bet that I would take the under. I think somebody will leave in less than 14 months.
I can see
I
that.
I
see that.
think we're going to see something interesting happen on inaugural day.
Well, he
Um,
promises day one stuff that he's
Yeah.
going to pardon all the J6ers, and he'll
Mhm.
probably pardon himself along with them.
Yep.
Well, and I think that you're going to see an unusual string of events just based on some things that I've overheard in rumors, but that he will appoint a state of an emergency, fire some generals, put some people in place, and then you'll start seeing people go into prison camps.
Yeah, I don't want any of that. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
no, you don't, but unfortunately, that's what is being said that's going to happen. That's what's being said behind the scenes.
Well,
So
I hope not.
this
I heard a great.
this
I heard it.
isn't from conspiracy theorists
Right.
either.
Okay,
This is
so
from very level-minded people.
All right,
who
but
are
before we
actually
leave, I got one last conspiracy that I heard at the gym yesterday, that the health insurance guy paid a hitman to take him out because he was in so much trouble that he thought it was better to be killed. I
Better
don't
to be
believe that
dead.
either, but that's an interesting theory.
Better to be
Right,
dead
but
than alive.
if he does do a state of emergency, then he can dispense the habeas corpus. So, and that's what's been rumored that
Yeah.
will
Well, the
happen,
state of
and all of
emergency
this
is that
will.
Trump is president. So
Right.
Well,
and
we-
and his interview last night, his first interview, big interview, I guess.
Yeah.
He didn't answer any of her questions. Like he danced around everything. What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that? Are you going to lock away deport all of the dreamers? What are you going to do with the dreamers? And he just never answered. He just kind of out there.
yeah.
He's always doing that.
And
He's
we're at
always-
11. So unfortunately, we
Yeah.
got to go.
I mean, he doesn't have. The sad thing is, he doesn't have to. People voted for him knowing that he lied.
Yep.
Why does he have to tell the truth now?
He
Why
does.
does he have to answer questions
True.
now?
I'm going to bail.
His
Don't get
actions
more
will
done.
be the truth. And unfortunately, we got to go. We'll see you guys tomorrow on World Edition. Thank you for joining us and have a safe and wonderful day. Be careful out there. There are crazy people.
Yeah, they are.